Even after spending billions of rupees and over more than a decade in construction works, none of the national pride projects have come into operation. Even the Melamchi drinking water project, which was expected to be complete by 2015, has been stranded after the Italian contractor CMC abandoned the works. Good morning, I'm Abhyuday Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. None of the national pride projects complete even after spending billions of rupees and over more than a decade in construction works. The appointment of office bearers at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and the Commission on Investigation on Enforced Disappeared Persons still awaited, justice delivery hampered. U.S. President Donald Trump makes an unannounced trip to Afghanistan to visit American troops there, says the U.S. and Taliban have been engaged in talks. And Nepal clashing against India today in men's volleyball at the South Asian Games in a must-win match to advance to the semifinals. Even after spending billions of rupees and more than a decade in construction works, none of the national pride projects have come into operation. We have a report.
The Melamchi drinking water project was envisioned 21 years ago to provide water to the residents of Kathmandu Valley. The project was expected to be complete in 2015. However, after the Italian contractor CMC abandoned the works, the project was hit by a delay for more than a year until the government provided the remaining contract to Chinese firm Sino-Hydro earlier this year. Meanwhile, a technical hurdle in diverting Melamchi's water into the tunnel has led to further delay. Another national pride project and Nepal's largest irrigation project, Sikta, is yet to complete even after 17 years of work. Sikta, which is estimated to cost 25 billion rupees, is constructed with the government's own resources. Once complete, the irrigation canal will supply water to 42,000 hectares of land in Baghé district. However, with the leakage in different sections, technical experts are yet to identify the way ahead to complete the project. The decade-old 1,792-kilometer postal highway that connects 20 districts in the Tarai region and the 456-megawatt Upper Tamakoshi hydropower project are plagued with its own problems. Although 99% of the works of the hydropower project was completed in 2018, the finishing touches to the project have been delayed for the last 1.5 years. Experts say that the failure to complete national pride projects has drained the state's resources and has cast doubt if the incumbent government would be able to materialize its own national pride projects.
8 months ago, the government formed a committee led by former Chief Justice Om Prakash Mishra to recommend officials in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and the Commission of Investigation on Enforced Disappeared Persons. The committee has finally published the name list of 61 prospective candidates and initiated investigation into the complaints registered at the commission. However, the stakeholders say that they would boycott the process if the same old faces were brought into the commissions due to political interference. The National Human Rights Commission has said that if the committee fails to act independently, it would withdraw its representatives. The National Human Rights Commission has demanded amendments of the Transitional Justice Act as per the Supreme Court verdicts and in line with international norms, consideration of victims' sentiments, among others. The conflict-era victims, meanwhile, have accused the government of making efforts to reappoint the previous officials. They have also cast doubt at justice delivery as the acts regarding grave human and war crimes are yet to be amended. The two transitional justice bodies have collected around 63,000 complaints but have failed to fully investigate even a single case. Experts say this is largely due to political interference, inadequate human and financial resources, and lack of necessary legislation. We'll take a short break here. We have more news coming up. Welcome back. It's time now for the international update. U.S. President Donald Trump has made a surprise visit to American troops in Afghanistan and said the U.S. and the Taliban have been engaged in talks. President Trump told troops at Bagram Air Base on his first trip to the country that the Taliban wants to make a deal, where he also met Afghan President Ashraf Ghani. The visit for Thanksgiving comes after a prisoner swap with the Taliban aimed at resuming peace negotiations. President Trump also said the U.S. was substantially reducing troop numbers. Some 13,000 U.S. troops remain in Afghanistan 18 years after the U.S. intervention to oust the Taliban following the 11 September 2001 attacks. President Trump's visit took place weeks after the Taliban freed 2 Western academics who had been held hostage since 2016, American Kevin King and Australian Timothy Weeks, in exchange for 3 imprisoned senior militants. It was not clear how substantive the talks have been. Afghan officials have long demanded a ceasefire, but the Taliban, who now control more territory than at any point since they were ousted in 2001, have refused to hold direct talks with the government until a U.S. deal is agreed. President Trump also reaffirmed his plan to cut troop levels to about 8,600, but did not say how many personnel would leave or when. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the locals in Nepalganj what problems are they facing at the Bheri Zonal Hospital. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
अस्पतालमा बिरामीको चाप बढ्दै गइराखेको छ, तर हाम्रो मसिनको अभावले गर्दाखेरि हामीले आउने बिरामीहरूलाई दिनुपर्ने सुविधा हामीले दिन सकेका छैनौं।
अस्पताल देश समितिहरूले चासो बढी दिनुपर्ने हो योमा। हामी जस्तो उहरूले एकदम दुःख पाइरहेको छ।
यो कम्प्लेन गर्ने ठाउँ भए पनि म गएर गर्ने थिए भएर म अहिले पनि त्यहाँ कराएर आछु।
प्राइभेट जस्तो मेडिकल कलेजमा छ नि, त्यहाँ चाहिँ रिपोर्ट पुरा बकायदा प्रष्ट लेखेर आउँछ, सबैजना पढ्न सकोस्, हाम्रो किडनी कस्तो छ, लिभर कस्तो छ, फलाना कस्तो छ। तर यहाँको लागि यहाँको पर्चामा चाहिँ पढ्न सकिन्न।
सरकारको पनि कमजोरी छ यसमा। सरकारी हस्पिटल छ, अब जनशक्तिको कमी छ। अब ल्याबमा मिसिनहरु बिग्रेको छ।
We have more news coming up, but right now it's time for another short break. Welcome back. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And here's the question. What is the reason behind technical complications seen in large-scale projects at their final stages? Your options are A, weak feasibility studies, B, geographical complications, and C, lack of experience. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And it's time now for the sports news.
Sports news.
Nepal is taking on India today in men's volleyball at the South Asian Games in a must-win match to advance to the semi-finals. The match, which will be played at the covered hall at the Dashrath Stadium premises in Tripureshwar, will start at 5 this evening. India has already qualified for the semi-finals with a match in hand after defeating Bangladesh in 3 straight sets. As Nepal had lost to Bangladesh 3 sets to 2, on Wednesday, today's match will be a must-win match for Nepal to reach the semis. If Nepal loses against India today, the home team will be knocked out at the group stage. In Group A, India is at the top with 3 points from 1 match. Bangladesh is second with 2 points from 2 matches, while Nepal is at the bottom with no points from 1 match. In Wednesday's match against Bangladesh, Nepal lost in 5 sets despite leading 2 sets to 1. Bangladesh defeated Nepal 21-25, 25-23, 19-25, 26-24, 15-12 in an exciting 5-setter. And now, before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. None of the national pride projects complete even after spending billions of rupees and over more than a decade in construction works. The appointment of office bearers at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and the Commission of Investigation on Enforced Disappeared Persons still awaited. Justice delivery hampered. U.S. President Donald Trump makes an unannounced trip to Afghanistan to visit American troops there, says the U.S. and Taliban have been engaged in talks. And Nepal clashing against India today in men's volleyball at the South Asian Games in a must-win match to advance to the semi-finals. And that's all for the moment. Keep watching Kantipur Television HD for more news and entertainment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.